Warm blessings, Master Shaman Palai Chi here today. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about being mentally disturbed when you are sensing other people's energy or other people's thoughts. So you can be an empath. You can have intuition about somebody else's thoughts about you. And you are sensing this silent, intense, either jealousy or maybe it's an exaggerated feeling or sensing of someone thinking something bad about you. And this can go into a suspicion inside of your head or a mistrust of someone that is either close to you or maybe not so close to you. Typically, these thoughts come with the people that are closer to you or people that maybe are, for example, if you are in school, it could be people that could potentially be your friends, but then maybe not yet your friends and want to approach you to do that, but maybe there's a mistrust or a suspicion within your head about this person. Now, sometimes we know this as it's called paranoia or being paranoid. With other people's, we call it the silent, quote unquote, silent, intense feelings or silent mistrust or you just can't relax, and there's this thought that keeps continuing to go inside of your head. These thoughts typically are negative thoughts, and these thoughts seem to be preoccupying your mind. Your mind is preoccupied with these negative thoughts of certain people that you have crossed paths with, or maybe talked to, or maybe they're just your friends or your family members, someone that you had been around. And this is typically called paranoia. So you're mentally sensing that these silent, intense feelings of negative feelings, whatever that is being occupied inside of your head, you are being preoccupied with these thoughts. And sometimes this can cause a personality disorder. One day you are, your old self, and the next day you are somebody else. And what that means is that you can have a disorder. So something is not balanced, something is not right inside of you. And this can also lead to a feeling of less self-worth, a feeling of low self-esteem, and a feeling of blaming. It becomes a blaming game of who is doing what to you when it's actually inside of your thoughts. And I want to explain this more on a shamanic aspect, more on the spiritual and energetic aspect, because for some of you, if you are the person that has paranoia or is paranoid by other people around you, even when there's no speaking, no talking, no communication, then you need to also realize this for yourself, face this, whatever these negative thoughts are that's preoccupying your brain at the moment that it's doing that, and face this off. Stop living in this denial that you blame other people for having these thoughts or whatever it is that you're blaming. There's a ton of you on the planet right now that is going through this paranoia phase, I would say, or had been going through a paranoid phases in your life. Some is a very low percentage of paranoia, and some has a very high level of paranoia to the point where it's actually very chronic or very critical, and it's every day, and you live with it every day. I feel you, I know you, because I work with those type of people. And for those ones that aren't paranoid, but you live with people that have that, or you are surrounded with people that have that, I want you to take it slow and don't try to argue with people that have that. talking into this mental sensory of feeling a mistrust for someone, of feeling that you can't really, that you have walls up all the time. So you're guarding your heart all the time. You're guarding yourself all the time. You are having a feeling of that you have to be secured all the time. That is also part of being paranoid. Also, having this suspicion and mistrust of people wherever you go. You're always conscious of these people's and their actions, that they might do something to harm or to hurt you in some negative way. And thinking that this, even though they didn't speak to you, or even though there's an action, that small detailed action, it could be nothing, but you may think that it's something, and you may use it like it's evidence to justify your thought. And actually, there is no evidence, there is no justification. It is just plainly imagined criticism or imagined judgment within your head that is preoccupying your mind to think in a certain way and to see in a certain perception of the action that was done there in front of you, or of the thought that is inside of your head, or even of the words that were said and then mistaken. You can also be, if you're paranoid, you can also be someone that really can't relax, even if you're by yourself. You always feel like there's something watching you, like something is behind you, or something is around you and maybe sneaking up on you, or maybe just watching you from a distance. You can be feeling that type of energy as well. And sometimes you can't really sleep because you have anxiety about these preoccupied thoughts, about this feeling of mistrust, about this feeling of suspicion of somebody always watching you when no one is physically, okay? And we'll get to that in a bit. But having a preoccupied mind with hidden motives is sometimes, it can go into the minds of the paranoid person. And if you are one that may have that, depending on the level that you have, right? You can have low, middle, or high. And having these preoccupied mindset with hidden motives can always sometimes lead you to thinking the wrong way, and then taking the wrong actions, and then actually causing your life to be really wasted in the hours of the day, preoccupying it in your head. And then you have a passive aggressive relationship within yourself. And then this comes out, this passive aggressive relationship with others as well. In your relationships, love relationship, family member relationship, friends relationship, and sometimes really running away from everything just to get away from the paranoia or the paranoid thoughts that are preoccupying your mind. And then sometimes you will get very angry, fear of being deceived. You know, this fear of always maybe being deceived by someone, of even a loved one, even the closest person to you. You're feeling and you don't trust them, and you think that they're going to deceive you. And then also fear of being taken advantage of. With every situation, there's always this fear of you may be taken advantage of, with just a little sensing of that somehow inside of you. And then thinking that it's the other person that is thinking that about you, when there is actually nothing from that person, that physically is nothing there or in their mind, but maybe it is in your mind. And we'll go into the spiritual aspect of that, but you are also could be one that is difficult to forgive, and forgiving people is not your thing. And you're taking this into a very personal, these thoughts in your head are then you make it very personal to you. So then you can't really alleviate it. You can't really let go of them. And for a very long time, if you have gone through this for a very long time, and you haven't told anybody about this feeling that you've had, and if you did, it didn't come out a certain way, then it's hard for you to forgive even yourself for going through the paranoia type of feelings or type of senses. On the spiritual aspect, I wanted to talk about who is at fault of thinking what? Of thinking the wrong way. Is it you? Is it the other person that you're sensing and being empathic to? Or are you being empathic to that person for real, truthfully? Or is it something else involved that is intangible? And typically, 99.9% of the time, I find from the spiritual aspect, from the shamanic healing aspect, 99% of the time, it is something else's motive that wants to overtake your mind as the person that feels low self-esteem. You're in that very low energy level, very negative level, whether you thought about the negativity and drew it in, allowed it to come in and overtake your mind and to be preoccupied with really negative, very negative thoughts or motives, okay, about someone else, about the situation that you had just been in, whatever that may be. I find that 99% of the time, and even as I'm talking about this, I can feel the motive of that negative energy. I call it the negatives. And what the negatives like to do is they like to enslave people, human beings, humankind. If you're weaker, feeling weaker, or feeling, I wouldn't say weaker, I suppose, if you're feeling more negative and you allow yourself to dwell in that negativity on a daily basis, whether it's in solitude, because most people that are paranoid like to be alone and like to be in solitude, or whether it's you wanting to be, you being in a crowd of people and you're not talking too much. You're just listening a lot inside your head. And you can listen to them also out here in physical, real world, waking life, right? But you're also intaking and perceiving these messages in the receiving of these messages in the wrong way. Why? Because there is something else in control. And that something else likes to enslave your mind into the negative so that you're feeding on this negative, feeding on the fear, feeding on the mistrust, feeding on the doubts, feeding on the fear of being deceived, the fear of not being loved, the fear of being hurt and being harmed. All of this has to do with a cycle of negativity. And as I'm talking about this, it's very, I'm sensing this very negative feeling that's around here. And this is the feeling that paranoid people get. Even with me talking about this at this time, I want you to wake up to the paranoia, to know that it is this problem, and to allow yourself to intake the positives. X out the things that are negative, bring in the positive light. Get away from the preoccupied thoughts and fill your day with something that you love to do, with people that you are okay to be with for now. Get over that, let it go, and forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive that you even were preoccupied in that. And don't think so highly of yourself too. Sometimes people in this paranoid state of mind can also put this really exaggerated self-worth into them so that they don't feel like they are in low self-esteem, that they don't feel that they are feeling low. But it's exaggerated. Come to your truth. Come to your truth and find the healing that you need. Because only when that happens, only when you face it, is when you're going to face this intangible, negative entity or entities that are actually citing you. And they actually want to enslave your mind, and then your body, and then your soul. This is 100% truth. And I cannot convince you. But until you learned enough lessons and wake up, you will get out and away from that paranoid feeling or whatever. So that paranoid feeling, and for some of you, it's low, medium, and high. Some might have it in instances during your life, and some might have it all the time, daily. And you might even have it with Facebook friends, social media friends. If someone didn't like your post, then now you have it because you're annoyed and paranoid that you might not be liked. Do not base your worth on other people's judgments, on other people's statements, but base your worth on how you think and how you see yourself today. If you don't like it, then you need to change. You need to make that change. This is Master Shaman Palai Chi, and I will talk to you again very soon. Warm blessings, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.